Happy April! Now that we are in a new month, I thought I would do a quick update on my Homebody Monasticism. Hi, welcome to Gently Being. For those who may not know, I will share the video below where I talk about what Homebody Monasticism is for me so that you can learn a bit more. But just in a brief overview, I decided that since I am at home most of the time now, that I would create a very structured day for myself that was inspired by various monastic traditions who shared their schedules online. And this very structured schedule would have set times that I would do some prayer or meditation work or anything that had to do more with my spiritual life. So back during the month of February, I realized I was struggling a bit with my schedule because I had sort of loosened up the structure of it, and when I did that, it all kind of fell apart. So March was a bit of a reset month. Overall, it went pretty well. I just allowed myself to change the wake-up time I had, and that my monastic sort of day would more start after my honey bunny left for work, and I was home alone again with just me and my pup. And I did find that that worked better. I still struggle with exactly how to figure out how the monastic schedule, my Homebody Monasticism, works on weekends. And right now where I live, we've been put back into a lockdown order, so it's definitely another good month for figuring out a Homebody Monasticism that works best for me. I do find that I'm really enjoying having a more structured daily schedule for myself. When I do really keep to it, I definitely get more done, and I find that I don't allow myself just to make excuses not to take the breaks for a quick meditation or prayer, and that then instead of just trying to fit it all in the morning or fit it all in the evening, you sort of have this checking in with your spiritual self throughout the day. And I really like that about creating that structured schedule for myself. So for April, I decided I was going to do a new experiment, and I wanted to do a at-home pilgrimage. And part of this is because last year I learned about the idea of having a virtual pilgrimage, and this had to do with people who would be unable to physically take the pilgrimage that maybe they wanted to. For example, a lot of nuns would do this, where they would then instead devote the time to reading a lot about the place they wanted to go and the biblical texts that were around it, if it was for Christian nuns, and that they would then spend time just walking within their monastery to reach that destination in more of a virtual sort of way. Or in other times they would really do a spend time like looking at the pictures of the place they would want to go, and would pray or meditate on those pictures. All in all, I just was really attracted to this idea of you can still do a pilgrimage where you are. You don't have to necessarily travel somewhere to do it. So for the month of April, I am doing my own at-home pilgrimage that has to do with a certain text, and I'm kind of thinking of it as a literary pilgrimage, but also a physical one. So I'm going to devote walking at least 6 or 7 miles a day, and luckily I was gifted a Fitbit at Christmas, so I'll be able to keep track of how much I walk. And I'm going to do that hopefully mostly outside, but you know, with April you don't really know how all the weather will be, but I will, if not totally do it all outside, I'll also just walk throughout my apartment to get some of those steps. And the literary part of it is I'm going to be reading this book, Meditations on the Tarot, A Journey into Christian Hermeticism, and it is written by an anonymous author, even though we kind of know who wrote it, but I'll share some of that, I think, when I'm completed the book. But it looks at all the major arcana in the tarot, and he shares his reflections on the tarot cards, and then gives you a lot of like meditation time to think upon the cards that are being discussed. So I thought this was like a really wonderful text to maybe just each day I would read one chapter and then spend the time that I was walking, either outside or inside, reflecting on the card that I just read about. And then I could pull out some of the tarot decks that I have and really meditate upon the images that were available to me on these cards. So it's a bit of a blend of that, like a literary pilgrimage with the visual meditation aspect and then also the physical walking. So I'm going to blend that all together during the month of April for my Homebody Monasticism, and I'll definitely be providing updates here on Gently Being. So subscribe down below so you can follow along, and maybe it's an idea that you find interesting and you would also like to take part in. I think it's an idea that you can really create to suit your life in a way that it would work. You don't necessarily have to take on something like walking 15-20 miles a day if it's not something that would really work in the life that you have right now. And yeah, you can create the pilgrimage that would work best for you. So this is very much more a pilgrimage of the mind and spirit than the sense of a physical pilgrimage from going from point A to point B physically, but I am including the walking so that it gives you that time to reflect. So it should be interesting, and I'm excited to share what happens. Thanks so much for tuning in to Gently Being. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and hit the bell so you always know when there's a new video. Once again, thanks for spending time with Gently Being.